When most people think of pandas, they think of the big black and white mascot for the WWF. Wait, that's the wrong logo? There we go. But what if I told you that you're mistaken and those aren't actually pandas? Pandas, or better yet, giant pandas, are quite frustratingly misnamed. Actually, you know what, I don't know how to introduce this one. It gives me a bit of a headache just thinking about it. Let's just roll straight into the clip that highlights the myth.
They are known to eat bamboo, but they also eat all kinds of fruits and eggs and birds and lizards.
That's what panda means, hey.
It is, bamboo eater. So it's funny because a lot of people think that red pandas are like giant pandas, but they're really not.
No, in fact, they're not related to pandas at all.
So this is where the distinction gets a bit confusing for me. Yes, red pandas and giant pandas aren't related, but red pandas aren't actually related to pandas. Well, no. It's more this ball of black and white fur on legs isn't actually related to pandas. This is going to get a little bit confusing, I think. Okay, let's travel back a bit. Actually, this will get really confusing too. Of course, both of these species have been known by Asian cultures for centuries, but if we go down to the local names for these species, it can get just as confusing as panda and panda and panda. Okay, let's go down this route. The first European record of the red panda was made by French zoologist Frédéric Cuvier in 1825. He received a specimen sent from the mountains of North India. No, the mountains north of India. And first gave it its scientific name and the common name panda. This name either coming from the Roman goddess of peace and travellers, Panda, or possibly a French interpretation of the Nepali word ponya, meaning bamboo claw. As for the giant panda, well, the West first learned of its existence in 1869 from the French missionary Armand David, who received the skin from a hunter, and he then, when describing it, gave it its Latin name, which means black and white cat-footed animal. The first time a Westerner saw a living one of these was as a cub in 1916. That's a little over 100 years ago for those keeping track. And Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was the first to shoot one in 1920s. And then the first came to Brookfield Zoo in the United States in 1936. So this was quite a while after the red pandas had been described and studied. In fact, in this 21st edition of the Pears Cyclopedia, which was printed in 1913, it doesn't mention the giant panda in its description of what a panda is. In fact, it says, "Panda, a Himalayan wildcat of a bright red colour with large ears and a low bushy tail. It is also found in Tibet." And then even if you look a little bit later in this new English dictionary printed in 1932, again, it describes what a panda is, but has no mention of the giant panda. In fact, it says, "Panda, a small raccoon-like animal, Elurus flugens, from the southeast Himalayas and Tibet." In fact, it's only when you get to quite modern articles, post-World War II, 50 years after they first saw one of these in the flesh, for example in this Newton's Popular Encyclopedia from 1964, that they start grouping these two animals together. In its description of a panda, it says, "Panda, a group of animals related to the raccoon and confined to the eastern Himalayas and South China. Pandas belong to the order of flesh-eating mammals, although they feed on fruit, leaves and shoots. There are several kinds of panda. The small ones are about 2.5 foot long, including the long bushy tail. The dense fur is chestnut above and black below. The giant panda resembles a bear in appearance. It is about 6 feet tall, with a short tail. The body is white with a black stripe across the shoulder. The legs, ears and patches around the eyes are also black." Presumably, before they were suddenly grouped together, giant pandas were sensibly grouped with bears. And I mean, since the name of the red panda in various Asian languages focuses around the name panda, whereas the giant panda varies between spotted bear, bamboo bear, cat bear, but at least they're all a bear. Although cat bear could be confusing with the bear cat, but then again, we had the common f***ing decency to start calling them binturong, so whatever. So why can't we just call giant pandas cat bears like it should be? I mean, it's a pretty good description of these animals. They have cat-like feet, they have cat-like eyes. Calling them giant pandas is a bit like calling koalas koala bears and thinking they're bears. God damn zoologists. There's a lot of contention with the conservation of giant pandas, or cat bear, as I'll call it from now on, either due to its apparent inability to survive, either being unable to digest bamboo without bacteria that it has to be eaten first from its mother's feces, or its reproductive behaviour where there is a 3-month breeding season but females are only receptive for 2 or 3 days, and they're generally solitary, so that's quite a small target to hit. Or, on the other hand, as Chris Peckham has said before, captive breeding of cat bears is pointless and a waste of money and resources because there isn't really any habitat left to sustain them. But, and I did actually believe that was how I felt as well as a lot of it before. But I think I've thought of it now, and we've got into quite a difficult position, and that cat bears do need to be conserved because, unfortunately, the WWF has chosen the cat bear as their logo, and if they went extinct, we get a bit of a problem because it would imply that the WWF didn't succeed in what they were doing, and less money would probably be given to them, which would then hamper conservation efforts on other species they work with, which would be bad. And secondly, I think it would also ripple through the general public and people would lose faith in conservation efforts and less money might be given in general. And so unfortunately, really, we've gotten into a bit of a weird catch-22 with cat bears. Thanks for watching, I'm sure you know the drill by now. Not you! If you like this video, why not give it a like, subscribe to my channel, ring the notification button and share it with your friends to have more people watching. Bye!